Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and I just went and threw baseballs to my son, and I am about to go to a Christmas parade later today. Okay, before I get going, I wanted to remind everybody about the VPN. I tell you on this channel all the time, if you're going to own crypto, this applies to everybody. If you have a computer or a phone and you're buying crypto, you need to have antivirus and a virtual private network so you can surf the internet anonymously. I've got a link to Pure VPN at the very top of the description of this video. If you don't have one, here's all the reasons you need one. So, all right, moving along. I tweeted this out the other day, maybe yesterday. I showed you Brian Brooks had replied to John Deet, and he said, just one correction, I don't eat lunch. And I had tweeted this out this morning. Refreshing to hear someone that tells it like it is. Sick of this bizarro world where we have an SEC chairman who can't give a straight answer to the people he's supposed to protect. I bet Gary Gensler wouldn't even say if he eats lunch, and if he did, he wouldn't say what he had. That's the bizarre world we're living in now. Yesterday afternoon, and you need to watch the whole thing, folks. Yesterday afternoon, this is from Bank XRP. Charles Gasparino was on the Liz Clayman show. Listen up.
The legal drama between crypto giant Ripple, which of course is behind XRP, and the Securities and Exchange Commission is nowhere close to an end. And now it looks like Bitcoin and Ethereum may be caught in the fray. What is this about, Charlie?
One of the more bizarre stories is that I've been covering for a while, particularly in crypto. Everybody's always assumed that Bitcoin, created by the mysterious Satoshi Nakamoto, right? That Ethereum, created by Joe Lublin, whatever, you got his name right. Joe Lublin and company, they created the Ethereum blockchain with the Ether crypto coin. The blockchain of Mr. Nakamoto is Bitcoin, as you know. Everybody's always assumed they're legal, right? Compliant securities, they're decentralized. The SEC does not. They don't have to register with the SEC. The SEC has said as much in a speech in 2018 by Bill Henman, then the head of corporation finance, and in other literature that the SEC has put out. It essentially deemed those two compliant securities. Well, not so fast. I'm reading the literature, not the literature, the court testimony in the Ripple versus SEC case. Ripple has been dinged for selling non-compliant, non-registered securities, mainly its XRP crypto coin. In reading this thing, Ripple's trying to argue that, hey, we're not that much different than Bitcoin. We're not that much different than Ethereum. And what the SEC is saying is, we don't care whether you're that much different than those two. We, at the SEC, have not declared those two compliant securities as of now. Mr. Hinman's speech was his personal opinion. As of now, neither of those things are one way or the other. We have no opinion on whether they are compliant securities. That is a huge story, Liz, in the crypto world, because it essentially opens the door to an enforcement action. If you take the SEC at its word, and that's one of the lawyers who's arguing the Ripple case, if you take him at his word, the SEC theoretically could file charges against Ethereum for issuing non-compliant securities that they issued in the past, even though if it's decentralized now, it wasn't always decentralized. Same thing with Bitcoin. When Satoshi Nakamoto created Bitcoin, right, at some point, it wasn't decentralized. It was just him, right? And
exactly. Now, all that's true. Now, here, I want to give you my thoughts on this. And now, you know what I think about Ethereum, folks. I mean, that's been a sham the whole time. As far there's to this day, there's a group that's working on issuing Ethereum 2.0. That's a no-brainer. Here's what I think. First of all, I think the only reason we're at this place is because a bunch of very powerful and wealthy people adopted Bitcoin and Ethereum and chose that. I believe that's why they didn't go at them in the first place. Now, here's the problem that they have. The problem they have is that now, because of the shady way that all this was done, and because we uncovered it, The SEC now has zero credibility. And the question is this: what are they willing to do to regain some credibility? Now, I don't believe for a minute that the powers that be are going to let Gary Gensler in any major way go after Bitcoin, and probably not Ethereum either, because that's the only reason they got the free passes, because of those guys. All right. What I do believe is they may go and try to ding those two at some point, or at least Ethereum, as a symbolic thing. You know, kind of how JP Morgan gets caught manipulating the silver market, and they probably made billions of dollars, but then they're fined $1 billion when maybe they made $3 to $5 billion. Those kind of fines, those are acceptable fines. If I would think, if I'm JP Morgan, if I make $3 billion or so and then I get fined $1 billion, everything works out just perfect for me, doesn't it? That's the kind of, if they go after them, that's the kind of thing. Now, I just wanted to go through this because it's very interesting. Some thoughts from people around this. This guy tweeted this. So in essence, if Ripple wins this lawsuit, then XRP would be the only compliant crypto, while Bitcoin and Ethereum could each face their own non-compliant securities lawsuits from the SEC. How the tables would then turn. Okay, and then Wrath of Kahneman said, if it's true the SEC says Ethereum and Bitcoin haven't been cleared as non-securities and compliant, doesn't it undermine their case for Ripple founders Cienter and Fair Notice? Okay, seems demonstrable that everyone in the world thought Bitcoin and Ethereum were in the clear, but surprise, they were not. So putting aside the issue of overreach for a moment, if Ethereum and Bitcoin aren't cleared, then it seems like they've made Ripple's case much stronger. I don't think they're throwing the game, but it does boggle the mind. Now let's look at this. This is an interesting thought from Digital Assets Daily. Like it or not, Bitcoin now has a face. Craig Wright won in court. Now the SEC has Craig Wright, Bitcoin, and Vitalik, Ethereum. If they want to now go after Bitcoin, Ethereum for being securities, again, flipping the switch as XRP gets cleared, can you imagine the buy-sell orders? Only a thought. And for me, it's only a thought too, that what the lawsuit he's talking about is this from earlier this week. Miami jury rules in favor of Craig Wright, who claimed to invent Bitcoin. I'm not telling you that I believe he invented Bitcoin or not. I'm just saying that the thought that Digital Assets Daily put out here is kind of interesting. Now, this was Craig Wright when he won the lawsuit. Listen to him.
Thank you, everyone, for all your support over all of the years. This has been a remarkably good outcome, and I feel completely vindicated. Next, there are still more fights. We are going to make everything change from cryptocurrency to digital cash the way it's meant to be. My original invention is coming back. I'm not going anywhere. I'm here for the long term, and I'm here for the fight. And each victory we get takes us closer to a world where digital cash is used. Not a global casino, but real digital cash, where people in third world countries can make money, hold money, and trade. Thank you.
Okay, so there he is. Now, listen to this. This is a guy talking about Craig Wright. I want you to hear this. This guy's a Bitcoin historian. Listen to this. Let me see if I can
the question is
I'm trying to get
why
the
there
right
is
point.
why the dissent, why the disagreement over the evidence that at least you have presented.
Sure. I think the best thing to do is to look at Coinbase's public offering documents. And they listed a few reasons why it might be a bad investment to invest in Coinbase or cryptocurrency in general. And their main point was that Satoshi Nakamoto is the largest holder of Bitcoin. And if he were to reemerge, he would have so much control over the markets that he could dump the entire market down to basically zero. He could make it a valueless investment. And so there's a gigantic existential risk that if Satoshi Nakamoto does not believe in the investment thesis of all this stuff that they've built, that he's a very dangerous figure to their wealth and their power and what they've been doing. And I don't blame them. So if Craig Wright is Satoshi Nakamoto and does control those keys, he said plain and simple, I do not like that it has become essentially Ponzi scheme, illegal gambling. He does not like the tax evasion aspects of things that have occurred in the blockchain economy. He advocates for a micropayment system that disrupts global commerce. He wants people to build businesses that couldn't exist without the technology. And nobody's doing that. They're building exchanges and basically unregistered banks. And
okay, so there's that. Now, as far as what he's saying, what's never made sense to me is why Wall Street, and I'll give you my thoughts on this, why in the world would Wall Street and all of these billionaires and all these big money people invest in an asset where they didn't know who controlled this massive stockpile of Bitcoin? They didn't know who the guy is that created it. That never made any sense to me. And for that reason, I think that they've known who Satoshi Nakamoto is from day one, because all those people at that level of wealth would not take that kind of a chance, folks. I think that they're probably the same people that created it, or group of people. Whether Craig Wright was a part of that, who knows? But this is Craig Wright right here too, and if you got kids in the room, you might want to plug their ears because he cusses a lot in this one. Listen to what he says in this little clip right here.
I'm not doing this every fucking time. I'm not going to sign every fucking key I own in the world. I've got the first fucking 9 keys. I've got the fucking Genesis bloody block. I've got the fucking code. I've got the fucking papers. I'm not going to go through fucking everything. I don't really give a shit whether people like it.
Okay, so that is him bragging about that. Now, I put together another clip. If I can get it to play, listen to this. This is an article at the front here. Bitcoin founder Craig Wright wins right to keep $54 billion.
To argue that, hey, we're not that much different than Bitcoin. We're not that much different in Ethereum. And what the SEC is saying is, we don't care whether you're that much different than those two. We, at the SEC, have not declared those two compliant securities as of now. Mr. Hinman's speech was his personal opinion. As of now, neither of those things are one way or the other. We have no opinion on whether they are compliant securities. That is a huge story, Liz, in the crypto world, because it essentially opens the door to an enforcement action. If you take the SEC at its word, and that's one of the lawyers who's arguing the Ripple case, if you take him at his word, the SEC theoretically could file charges against Ethereum for issuing non-compliant securities that they issued in the past, even though if it's decentralized now, it wasn't always decentralized. Same thing with Bitcoin. When Satoshi Nakamoto created Bitcoin, right, at some point, it wasn't decentralized, it was just him, right?
So, like it or not, I own the Bitcoin database. The controls that people have are because of a unilateral contract I made. I am contractually bound to a stable protocol. I am contractually bound to ensure that the distribution of the tokens that I issued, and they were issued in full on the first day I launched it. I'm the issuer, with all the legal requirements that means. When I did that, I became bound. So if I change anything, the protection users have is I am liable to every single user of the system. Not just miners, every user can sue me. So how do you know I won't change it? Because if I have 1 billion users out there in the future, every single one of them has a legal redress against me for not maintaining this network.
Okay, so that's Craig Wright. Now, I was this is a thought that just popped in my head today. We've talked a lot about the Ethereum free pass. John Deaton has put out a timeline. I've put out a timeline. These are dates and times and people that it's never been disputed, all of this, okay? And so I was making a point here. The people in this timeline knew that Ethereum was going to get a free pass before the public knew. Did they own Ethereum? Was it legal for them to own Ethereum or to buy and sell Ethereum knowing what the public did not know is what I'm getting at here. What else did they know that wasn't public information? Who knew the Ripple suit was going to be dropped ahead of time? Did they short XRP? Is that legal? This is the kind of things I want to know. And I think that that's something that needs to be addressed by whoever runs the criminal division of the United States. Because we've got the video, folks. We got the timeline. These are things that need to be looked at. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and tell your friends and family that we have the timeline in the video. And I have a simple question. A lot of these people had insider knowledge the public didn't have. Did any of them buy and sell on that information? Is that legal? I don't know.